Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Good evening, hello, and welcome everyone to 5.8G Alive. I'm Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, which is bringing you 5.8G Alive. And with me, as usual, is my colleague and friend.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. And I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome to our show this evening.
Great. So Jennifer, we have finished an epic journey where we looked at your confidence, your assurance, how you're handling this whole transition to retirement and so on. And I hope that everyone really was able to get a good, insightful view of their life and at least you know where you are. I really hope that's my wish for people going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from the feedback, many people did, and that's simple.
Yeah. So Jennifer, we were talking about, okay, so we are almost, we are in the last quarter. It is the 1st of October. Okay. So October, November, December. This is the last quarter of the first quarter of the 21st century. We have to really take that into consideration. Next year is 2026. So we will be into the second quarter of the 21st century. I mean, all of us born in the 20th century. So Jennifer, let's have a discussion about how we define ourselves and living and purpose as we go forward on this beautiful stage. So let's go in tune.
Yeah.
Yes, Jennifer, when you think about your purpose for living, what thoughts come to mind?
When I think about my purpose, I think about doing the things that I want to do, at this stage. And I said at this stage because I have recognized, Terry-Ann, that as we move through life, a lot of changes happen. And to balance life, you have to really think about what's the purpose? Why are you living? Why do you want to get up in the morning? Let me put it this way, and I'm smiling because, anytime I feel ill or can't move around as much, I'm in panic. And I'm saying, okay, you're afraid to death. Hey, you don't want to die. Then why are you living? What you want to live for? And I asked myself that question. And that's, have me thinking about, what is my purpose in life? And anytime I think of what is my purpose in life, I want to have a joyful life. I want to enjoy life. And in doing that, I want to help others, let me say give back, but not give back, but do things that would make someone else's life a little better. And that's my purpose, not just me living life as I would like to, but also help others do the same. And starting, of course, with immediate family. So that would be my purpose.
Yeah, yeah. You're making me feel bad, Jennifer.
We have different
As I get,
and that
and this is what we were talking about, people look at, all right, what's your life purpose? And I think many people believe that your purpose must involve other. It must involve other and it must bring things in. And if that is what you genuinely feel, that is great. When I think of my purpose at this stage in life, it is so selfish, it isn't funny. My purpose is for me to be really, really, really happy, to be very relaxed. And happiness for me is being always in a state of relaxation. And I don't mean relaxation being that you lie down by the beach with a drink and on vacation relaxation. It means that no matter what is happening around me, no matter what crisis is going on, that I must always stay on an even keel and not let circumstances outside myself overwhelm me too much. And so I think that if I really truly believe that if I am happy and I am centered, I am a much better person, and therefore anybody who come into my orbit, if someone comes into my space, my influence, they are much better off for it, And it's amazing that we may have two completely different orientations to our purpose, but at the end of the day, we are happy, and our network, the people who are around us and who are dear to us, are happy also, And I wonder sometimes what do you see that dynamic going on in people?
it varies. And let me start. I believe the stage of life you're at can, direct or can influence what you say your purpose. So for instance, I would say, and you say we are on a growth path. So I would have gone through different aspects of my life which required me to think differently about purpose. So at some stage, my focus may mainly be on family because my purpose would have been, or next may say purpose or goal, but my purpose then would be to ensure that my family be okay. But in all that, Tarian, I must say, me first, right? So I fix myself first, and then after that, I will deal with the other situation, feeling that okay, my same purpose could be my role will be to do X, Y, and Z. I am seeing, and I would answer that question you asked about, am I seeing that in others? Is how I look at it, in that I can't say I really cannot just identify that might be their purpose in life. I would say I have friends and their actions, I might see them taking certain actions or making certain decisions or choices along a certain line. I may not be totally in agreement because it may not be my way of doing it, but I can only assume that they're fulfilling their purpose in terms of what they are doing,
Mm.
you know. But in terms of identifying or defining, well, yes, that is the purpose doing X, Y, and Z, I can't see. I
Mm.
really can't.
No, I think it's very important for me. Um, if I were to put my priorities in place for this stage of life,
Mm-hmm.
I am so thankful and grateful that I have come to getting ready to go into my turning 64 in December and starting my 65th year, which I think is when the real retirement starts. We always say the first 5 years. So, yeah, you know, I am happy that I am so far going into that space with relatively good health, that I have with the family seen everybody meet milestones that were expected, whether it's your education, whatever it is, you're there, and you can be pretty settled. So I am looking forward to having a very at ease life, where things are easy. And one of my priorities is that I don't want anybody or anything complicated that ease. Don't want anybody or anything complicating that ease. And it doesn't mean that I am not of service to anyone or anything like that. But I really believe that the way I've lived my life to get to this point, um, between me and my God, I am being blessed, and that I deserve this ease. Now, we never know what could happen tomorrow. I don't know what is going to meet me next year or next month. I could have a medical crisis. I could have a crisis in my family. I might even be here in a year's time. You don't know. But given that what is in the future is uncertain, my perspective right now is that I must be at ease. And things that want to come into my environment just to disturb my ease, if I can resist it, I will resist it. If I can't resist it, then I am prepared to change my status to a position where I am back at ease. you know? And that may sound, but this lady don't care about anybody. But I think it's not so much that you're not caring about anybody, but I think most of my life was about caring for others. And I'm genuinely looking at myself and saying, all right, Taria, what about you? I think at this stage, I have permission to now say, given that I am in relatively good health for now, that I can say, what about you? What do you need? And let's have some fun. And my definition of fun is being at ease. I don't know. It's just something that I feel very, very deeply about. I'm very protective of it. And I think sometimes it's difficult for us to look ourselves in the eye and say, so what do you want? What about you? And just as you say, you want to be able to help, and that's genuinely you. And I say, I want to be at ease. And I think that if I'm at ease, I'm going to be a better citizen in the world, and everyone around me will be happier.
Tarian, I definitely believe that this stage in our life, this latest stage, that we should put ourselves first. If you don't, we will find ourselves just sitting in a corner, being very sad, being depressed because our expectations may be for others to come to us, for family members to come to us and do things, to make us feel good. And if that don't happen and we are not used to appreciating ourselves and doing things to make you happy, then you're going to be in problems. And let me say this. I see, as I say, we are on a growth path. It's a life journey. And anything can happen for you to change, right? I consider myself a planner. So I always planning and setting goals, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, because that's what I know. And since this is a year now actually that I was diagnosed with the cancer and went through all, I'm still going through the different clinics and tests, etc. That Terry-Ann, I'm no longer consider myself this planner. I'm planning for no 5, 10 years, not even 3 years. Everything is now, because I started to think, and I started before, say, okay, you're praying you want to live and you want to live healthy. Why? And it comes back to, I really want to live a joyful life. And in living a joyful life, I ask myself, what are the things you really want to do? And what's stopping you from doing it now? Why are you putting off and saying, okay, in 3 years I will do this, and in 5 years, and by the time I reach 80? No, I'm no longer doing that. I'm a changed person. All right. And because I am living life, as they say, in the now, in the present, is me, I am first. All right. So what I do, as I get up in the morning, I no longer, I have a week, yes, I have the schedule for the week, but I don't, when I say, set rules. So I would get up in the morning and I said, okay, of course, you pray, thank God for giving me the health that I can do things. And I say, okay, what are you going to do today? And outside my set appointments that I may have for clinics, or other type of appointment, meeting a friend to do something, I have a lot of time. And I know, Terry, and I love, and everybody know that by now, I love the garden and my plants and to fix outside. I really like out and in, but I love the gardening. And Terry, and the first thing I think about as I get up and say, what will make me happy? I have my routine of exercises, so I will exercise. And I go out in the garden depending on the time. If it is nice and cool, I will do it outdoors. If it's not, I would put the plant pots under the shed there, under the gazebo, and I would put it. That keeps me so happy. And let me tell you, and all I'm doing is taking photos. So I have a lot of photos of all the plants, enjoying the weather. We having a lot of rain. I mean, up this side here, we do have a lot of rain too. So that gives me so much joy. And that's what I do. If someone would call me and say, do you want to do something? Would you like to go here? And it's an invitation where I am not happy to do what they want me to do. And this is where you may see that people might think that is selfish. I would say, no, I don't want to do that because I am doing the things that bring me joy. And although I'm saying I want to help others and to bring, see if I could bring some happiness and joy to their lives, it is not at my expense. You understand? It would be along the way. So I could relate to what you have just said. It will be along the way. So I go along. I don't, before Terry and I might feel guilty. And I would say, you know what, I'm going to do something different. If it means that I have to put aside what I was going to do for myself to help others, normally I will do that. I would, as they say, I would extend myself to help others. Now, say, hey, I balance. I look at it and say, hey, relax yourself. You can't afford to do X, Y, and Z, whatever they want you to do. You need to make sure you are good. My choices also based on, again, my value system. You know, I'm not, well, let me put it this way. I no longer doing things to please someone, even though, at times I may say it's not really what I believe in, but I will do to help them. No, I'm not doing that again. I have to keep my energy has to be a very one that is not that don't have many negatives in it. I try for my energy level to be a very positive one, and that makes a difference in terms of bringing me that joy and how I act and the decisions that I make. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one thing for us to talk about our purpose. And sometimes, yes, I sit down and I think about, all right, so this ease that you're talking about, what is it and how does it manifest and so on. And you talk about you journal regularly and you write and so on. But I have a practice of looking at myself while I do things. And I may be in the middle of a project, whether it is a project outside, inside, or whatever it is. And I always pause to check in, all right, how am I feeling as I'm doing this? Even if I decided to do housework and clean up a room or something like that, I always ask myself, check and see, am I happy doing this? Am I irritated? Am I tired? What is it? And if I am doing something that I find I'm becoming frustrated or I am not really happy, I stop it. I really do. And I want to give you a joke. Well, it's not a joke. It's something. It's a project that I have started. Now, Jennifer and I both love gardening, and Jennifer has some beautiful ornamentals. I can't put my ornamentals next to Jennifer. Jennifer look like La Vega. Mine always have bad soil and need water and stuff. However, I have a passion for growing food. I really have, and I've always said, I want to be able to provide myself with at least 50% of my vegetables, my leafy veg, starchy veg, and stuff like that. So over the past few years, I've put the infrastructure in place to allow me to do that. So I have my grow box, I have my pipes and my tubes and all kinds of stuff. So I have some iguanas living in my yard. Okay. And when I plant my plants, these picky eaters, they don't want the seasoning. They don't want anything that's not delicious. But my kale, my cabbage, my broccoli, they don't like beetroot. They like different lettuce they love. And they come in and eating my things. I mean, I realized that over the last 2 or 3 years, I think after my mom's death, I really did not go into that passion and I've started it again. And so I've you know, I went getting my vegetables and I went on ChatGPT and on ChatGPT and I had a ball designing an anti-inflammatory guard and big thing, big design. And I have about 38 items that I am seeding and planting. And Jennifer, this weekend, I I organized and my seedlings were sprouting and I went and I plant everything and oh, I was feeling so good and I look at it and Jennifer, the next morning I get up and look out, not the next morning, after lunch. My seedlings have no leaves. And the shepherd iguana sprawl off on the bed watching me. So I ran outside and pick up a stick and I hit the thing one whack. He scattered and he gone. And I said, and I say, what nonsense is this? I mean, I got real fire rage and so on. And I just stop and I say, wait a minute, Ariane. And I didn't say it like this, but I felt my body going through this notion. You letting that wild animal get you so vexed. No. So I sat down and I looked around and I said, no, I had to get something this iguana and I have to live together because I can't stand up and guard the plants. So I put a temporary fix in place. I went back to ChatGPT and we came up with a lovely plan to cage my vegetables and stuff. So in the interim, what am I to do? Now it's nearly $200 in seedling. Now seedling is $1, so you all know how much seedlings I have put down. Seedlings and plants and so on. So you know, I just decided while I'm waiting to get my cage to do it, I say, you see, Gona, let me see what did you really like to eat. And I just decided, okay, eat what you want. I'm not buttering. Eat what you want. And I am sitting down, watching him come around, watching him sniffing and choosing what he wants. They really don't eat seasoning. They do like beetroot. And it's about 5 leafy vegetables this iguana loves to eat. Now you have a mango tree that he feasts on. He has a 5-finger tree and he has a cherry tree. So his fruits are taken care of. I suppose when they go and dig in the dirt, they'll get dirt. And I am providing leafy greens to balance his diet. And so I've just decided, okay, so I put some seedlings on another side of the yard where far away from the trees and stuff like that. And I said, but wait, like he don't know there's another side of the yard because my bunch and body going good on that side. Okay, and I want my bunch and body to do well because it's not a whole long vine, it's like a bush. So I say, cool. But you know, and I give you this story to help explain what I mean when I say I must have ease in my life. Because it's plenty work I did to prepare my yard. And you know how these days, hot Jennifer, all my preparation, I have to start 7 o'clock. I can't do nothing 5 o'clock. I can't do anything 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock in the night, and I'm coming inside 11 o'clock after toting bag and lifting soil and this thing gonna just eat my stuff.
So, I would tell you more.
You know, so I go through this process. I look at that because 10 years ago, Daddy gonna do something. I am a mess, you know. I vex, I spend my money, you just eating my things. And I just sit down and say, all right, I'll get more plants. You eat what you have to eat. Let me notice what it is you like to eat. So now I have to go and get marigolds and things to put near to the things they like to eat. So they were that mental process of acceptance of things I can't control. I cannot
Yeah.
stop iguanas from invading my yard because we until we came into their territory and I am growing food they like to eat. So, excuse me, God put him here and tell him to eat, and I feel I could make God. So, just that process of something happens and I mean, Jennifer, I tell you, I get real vexed, I put down about 40 plants, 40 seedlings. It was in one bed, about 40 seedlings, different kind of products. And the next day, I seen a leaf. But
Is
I
how
just,
you are.
I just sat back and just adjusted because I cannot do anything about the iguana. So my mindset has to change. Otherwise, I will be a nervous wreck and I will stop gardening. And that is not a desired outcome. I want to be able to produce my vegetables. And I gave the story to help understand what being at ease is for me. Something comes up, it it is putting my plans at risk. I sit back and look at this and I say, all right, how are we dealing with this? What we doing here? And I have a long-term plan for the iguana. Yeah? I'm going to set a trap for him and he will starve in the trap for disturbing my peace of mind. But it is so great to just be at ease, still going along doing what I want to do. And you feel that you're learning. I have plenty seasoning growing good iguana, not eating that. I have a strategy for my vegetables to protect the iguana, to protect them from the iguana so I could eat them. And I think that is what we all need to do with life.
Yeah, um, we definitely have to adjust and, as you said, change your mindset. For instance, as you see, I do a lot of the ornamental plants. In addition, of course, I plant trees. I now my backyard not huge, but I plant things I like. So I must say I had a great time, Terian, this week reaping. So we had heavy winds, and I have a planting tree, and I had a if you see must see one hand, it was almost reaching the ground. First I had plenty plantings on it, and it bent right over with the wind. So I got someone to come and cut the hand. I have plenty planting there to distribute. That made me feel really good. I said, hey, I have plantings. Then I planted a cayenne guava. I love guavas, and you hardly get guavas in the market. And I reached out and said, hey, so I was able to pick my first guava, the cayenne guava. I did that this week. So in addition with planting, I have guava, I have pawpaw. And I sound like I already have a big estate, right?
It's your
One
estate. It's your estate.
thing, and that have me, I mean, really, really feel good about it. So I did a lot of gardening this week. Of course, I had the gardener come in and do the base cleanup for me. So I was able to really see about plants. And that keeps me going, Terry Ann. It makes me feel that I come out and I am doing things. Of course, with the plants, you have the blight on one of the plants. I just my what prevent me from getting upset, like if I keep spraying a plant and it's still there.
Mhm.
You know what? This is an opportunity for me to get a new type of plant. So that's what I do. So when I go, I buy something else and I replant, you know. So gardening for me, in terms of giving me that joy,
Yeah.
I also enjoy connecting with friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, I will call, and as you say, we'll talk a bit. But in talking, and I mentioned helping others to bring joy into their lives. I am very, as I would say, intentional when I make that call or when I go out with a friend in terms of giving that listening ear and, choosing carefully in terms of how I respond or what I say to them. I try to keep it again on a very positive note, no matter what situation they're in. Um, I would say something that I think may give them hope, make them feel good about themselves, and this would be honest feedback
Mm-hmm.
I would give, fooling anybody or so I would say that is the other way that for me, I feel good in terms of that. When I call a friend, it is really to see how they're going, but also to make sure that I can say something to make them feel good, about their situation.
Yeah.
Right? So that's something I like doing. I love to socialize. Being home for me also, I'm not bored at all. So if I'm not outside, that means I always have things to do, Terrian. I like to look at a lot of the YouTube, different things. I'm more one for comedy. I am not into too much heavy movies. I'm not into the movies so much. I love the talk shows and listen to, things that and areas that I am interested in. Um, so yeah, so if you ask me, that's my purpose. That's what I would say. I live in my purpose.
Yeah.
I I think it's very important for my journey, especially at this time, to my spirituality is very, very, I think is at the top of my list. So I like to just relax and reflect and talk to my God about life and my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As you think about it, and as you say, we are just talking about life and reflecting on how we keep ourselves happy and what they say you have four love languages. Their words, acts of service, how you spend your time, and how you gift people. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to cook. Well, you know me, all right? And I love experimenting with things. So I had a seeing that this iguana has become a part of my life. So we have to live together. So I have a bounty of seasoning because the iguana not eating any seasonings. And I have started drying them. I have it's probably about 15 different herbs in my garden. And the most interesting, there's a herb called the stevia plant. You can eat the leaves and it's actually a sweetener. But anyway, that's a side story. So I have all these herbs that I'm accumulating and I'm saying, but I have to do something with these things. And a dear friend of mine and one of our followers, hi Judith, how you going? So she said to me, I'm coming for lunch by you on Sunday. And I joked and I said, let me make it easy for you. And I gave her a beautiful invitation to lunch on Sunday, you know? And again, we're talking about when you do things and I check and I say, all right, how am I feeling in this action? And if I don't feel joy, if I don't feel at ease, then there's something wrong and I have to switch this over. I had a really packed Sunday plan. But then I said, but wait, this is a real cool opportunity to do something with these herbs. And listen, Jennifer, I decided I'm going to do a local lunch. And I invented this most delicious herb rice recipe with like 15 herbs. Listen, it was amazing. And then I had some lamb and I made up because a lot of them are dried. And I made this, take out my mortar and my pestle and I'm grinding. I slaughtered that lamb and I let it soak overnight and all that. And but it was a simple lunch. It was lamb with some vegetables like a stew and my rice and some callaloo I had in the freezer. But I had so much fun going and getting my haul of herbs out of the garden and figuring out with all the different methods of cooking, preparing herbs, and what method should I use to combine these herbs with this rice. And how should I bake this lamb? How should I do this lamb? How to prepare it and so on. Just the preparation of the meal became an adventure. And
Yeah.
when she came, you know, we sat down, she brought a salad with her also. And we sat down exchanging notes. Of course, there was the mandatory bottles of wine in it too. And it was so simple, so much fun, so much of the things that I love to do got wrapped into it. And, you know, by the end of the afternoon, we it was just a mix of everything. And I say that to say, you know, sometimes we talk about being a tribe and we talk about connecting with friends and things like that. And those activities, as I went through preparing this meal, going in the garden and pulling things out, and then coming up with a recipe, those are the kinds of things that gave me joy. And while I was at it, I was doing an act of service, showing love to a dear friend who was coming to lunch. And who, you know, we sat down and we talked and we laughed and things like that the whole evening. And because these are things that I love doing, and I can incorporate my gardening into my cooking, into entertaining, into sharing with a friend, having glasses of wine and laughing a lot. That makes my life totally at ease, you know? And I think sometimes I listen to people saying that you have this to do and that to do. You don't have to do it every day, but sometimes just conceptualize the things that you love, and you incorporate them into things that you can share with someone. And I believe that is really living a life of ease, living a life of fun, of joy. You know, my friend was planning to leave at 4, then it switched to 5. She came minutes to 6. 2 bottles of wine finished. And I had a fantastic day. And you know, we discussed the iguana, we discussed all kinds of things. My point is, it is so important for us to just take what God has blessed us with, put them together with love in your heart, and share them with someone that you care about. And I do know that we could have blood pressure and all them kind of things that bothering us.
Terry, and what I look at, and I would say my changes, I really learn to pause. If I'm overdoing it, if I feel, let me tell you, I I'm one like to my kitchen has to be clean. Nowhere's in the sink. All these things. So always cleaning up and wiping up and things like that. And I have decided, to do the things it in my time. The place still in order, but I don't feel I must clear up everything right after. And that's because for me, that creates a lot of anxiety for me when I must have things done and be done time. I'm like that. So I have to, before I will say, okay, I must have breakfast at a certain time, lunch and whatever. I no longer have that fixation on having things done at a certain time or, what I do is I check myself, and if I find I'm getting very anxious because I want this done now, I check myself and talk to myself and say, hey, it don't have to be done. If you're tired or relax, nothing wrong with just relaxing, and do it after. So I have learned to be. I'm much more flexible. I rigid. I considered myself before very rigid. Um, for instance, this morning I went walking, and by my second rounds, I felt like my knee was giving away in terms of I started feeling a lot of discomfort. And I say, you know what? I don't have to push it and prove anything. I make 2 rounds, let me head home. And I got home and I decided that I just gonna relax. I don't have to go rushing because that's time. And I say, I could have breakfast, I can do this. And I just said, relax, pause. You don't have to do anything. And when you're feeling better, then just get up and do it. Terry, and before I would push myself also, go, you know, I'm not letting the pain get to me. I'm not doing this. I'm going to go ahead and do that extra rounds. Um, we have to check ourselves, know where we are, be honest with this is the stage you are at. This is what is required, and just go along and do nothing if it's nothing you have to do. The other thing I find, I don't have to be right. Even if I feel that, I may be in conversation with a friend or I may be talking to my daughter and something is said before I may get in, I'm not saying argument, but I would have a strong opinion on it and express my opinion. Now I don't, I may ask, is it worth it? Why you yourself getting into that giving your opinion? That's it. This is what they believe they're going to do it. Just leave it alone. Look at their side of things. That's what they want to do. Just accept that and move on with your life. Find things for you to do. Don't get upset because this is not done the way you want it done, or they may be making a decision that you're not happy with. That's their decision. So I have reached that stage before I felt I must say something. After I no longer do. And if I am careful with how I responding. I'm not very strong saying that, okay, this is what I believe, and no. I find it has made a difference to my life. A much, I live in a much more peaceful life by not getting involved and feeling that I have to. My mother used to say that feeling that I have to have my say. No. So I have really changed my um how I do things. And as I say, that is all that helps with our emotional wellness. It helps with my emotional wellness.
That's a hangover from the second act when
Yeah.
we had to prove our point, and society told us that that is what we had to do. That was leadership. That was moving forward. That was, you know, you have to be assertive and you have to give way. And at the end of it, we were stressed.
Um,
We were
you,
stressed. We were tired. We couldn't relax. By the time the weekend came, by the time you unwind yourself, it was time to wind yourself back up to go. Now, the beauty of being retired people is that you can do it on your terms, you know, and share things that people love. Yes,
yeah.
you know, you don't have to be stressed. And the thing about it is, you know, there's a time you would say, if I seek my pleasure, if I seek to be at peace with myself, if everything that I do needs to be something that, and I don't mean everything 100%, but if the majority of the things that I have to do must be things that I love doing, or it should be done in a way that gives me pleasure, you'll say, well, what's wrong with her? You know, you're not leaving room for others in your life. But when you're at peace and you are enjoying what you're doing, you're more open and can embrace people and bring people in, and you know, rather than being driven by what would others think, or what would this one want or that one, and you putting yourself back. I just love my life of ease. And I think the people around me love me more because I am at ease. Because I don't think I am very nice when I'm worked up and hyper. I don't think.
And Terry, and the thing about it is I am okay if they feel I'm wrong, or if I don't I move on so very coolly, without thinking again, without being upset. I just move into the next stage of my life. And I actually pat myself on the back and say, hey, this is a different stage you're in. I like this stage. you know, you just had peace going along.
I just decide God put the iguana on the earth to eat vegetables. And the iguana lives in my area. I came here, he was always here with his family. So if I want vegetables for myself, I have to let the iguana know that this is not for you. This is for me. So I really had no business putting vegetables in the ground and leaving it open, because that's how the iguana eats. So my next batch of vegetables will have a nice frame over it that when the iguana comes and pokes, he'll see, but I can't get those vegetables. All right, let me go and eat something else. And we'll both be happy.
But
I learned that lesson and I remained at ease.
you have to build like a greenhouse and, in a way
No,
that they can.
going to be as simple. Me and ChatGPT came up with the solution. I took ChatGPT and I had a long conversation about the iguana in Trinidad. It's a simple chicken wire frame that is easy to move around. And it's just to put a physical, it's just like having children. When we have children and we don't want them to go outside, we push a chair in front of the door so they can't go outside. So we could continue doing what we're doing and we don't have to be worrying. You know, if we have the door open, we'll be always worried. Child will go outside. But we know to just put something to bar it. So I just decide, all right, the first set of crops were yours. Have them. My next is going to be mine. I'll put a barrier.
You just have to hope they're not strong enough to break it down.
No. I will. All of that has been factored in. All of that has been factored in. So, and it's little iguanas. It's not the big iguanas that were at your place in Diego Martin. No, those are wild animals.
You already thump on the
No,
on the roof.
our iguanas are like adolescents. They're probably just about 1 pound or something, or under a pound. We don't have enough food here to get them so big.
Because one day when one fell through the roof of the neighbor's, the big iguana.
No, those are the animals. I have nice green. They're not mossy green and so on, but they have to be like that because they're eating people vegetables. They're eating my vegetables. But I have a nice plan for them and we stay at ease. So what I put outside, he'll eat that. But when I get my little thing, we'll be fine. And I stay at ease and I get my vegetables. What's that?
I don't have to corners.
No, I think Jennifer, one of the people are hearing us talking about, how we live. And one of the most important things for us is really we have to be at ease. And I wouldn't say happy, but we really shouldn't be doing things in our life that we don't want to do or we don't like doing. Or if life says you have to do these things, then recognize that it's temporary, doesn't define life. But we really can't be living life and be upset and carrying that upset through our lives. We've got to find a way to get back into equilibrium. I think that is important for our mental health and it every day.
We are talking about our lives, but I must say it's a lot of adjustments that to be made, because I had to decide this is my present situation and this is how I going to these are the changes I'm going to make to ensure that I enjoy my life with the gardening. Listen to me now. I can't move any heavy pots or any heavy things up. So I have to decide this is how I want it set out and get somebody now to come and shift these pots to me. I cannot get frustrated saying, oh gosh, I used to do this and I want, no. I'm still doing the gardening, but I know there are certain things that are now challenging for me, but I'll get someone to do it for me.
I know where around it.
Yeah, so that is what you have to do, as you said, find a way around it. Again, I'm going through the challenge now of moving around without having my own car again. And it started to get to me at some stage now that I'm moving around more. And I decided, you know what? Again, don't get frustrated. This is what you could do. And I made the arrangements and I know, okay, I have to just be a little more disciplined in terms of how I set in my schedule. So I could get someone or driver to take me places. I also have to also decided that adverse to taking public transport at all. And I had to look, find out what's the best thing to do, where I'm getting transport, how to arrange that. And Tarian, I'm making a lot of friends. I decided to take the maxi and I sit in there. Listen to me, trains are really friendly, It hardly gets someone who's sitting next to you who may not say hello and, chat. Feel I want to chat, they say something. If you don't answer, well, it leave you alone. But I'm quite comfortable. I had to readjust, and this was my decision to do that. I look at the positives of the situation. But if it's something that I feel, as I said, I started taking public transport, not regularly, but at times. And I've said, this is what, let me look at the positive aspects of it. So if I have to walk through Port of Spain, I'm enjoying myself. How long I haven't been dropping into the stores and looking to see what's there and all that. Mm-hmm. Find things that could keep you on that positive note and not the negative side of it. And that's what I have been doing. And so far, I'm good, I just to myself and say, hey, look how you're enjoying a different stage in your life. And that's good too,
The important thing is that we enjoy life. And we really hope that you have been inspired and you have seen that it's not difficult to be happy no matter what your context. No matter what your context. Because we are alive and we have the opportunity to make whatever is in front of us pleasing to us. Twist it, turn it. But just don't get into sacrificing self always for others and neglecting yourself. I think that's the most important thing for us to remember.
Ariane, I have to say this, that we have been planning for our fun time picnic on Friday. And that has given me, talk about joy, I love it. I like the planning and looking at the different things that we can do and getting whatever materials needed. I happy doing that, and looking for having that fun time on Friday.
So you all next week will hear all about it and you'll see pictures of everything that we did. So we've been talking for 60 minutes, Jennifer. Continue being at ease, being content, having a great time on the third act, and send us your stories about how you've made the adjustment and what keeps your life balanced. So until next week, take care. Bye.
50+ Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50+ 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.